You are eating right now. Maybe not this second, but you ate today, and yesterday, and every single day of your life without a single exception. Eating feels like the most natural thing in the world. But here is what nobody tells you. Almost everything on your plate today would be completely unrecognizable to the humans who built your body. And that gap, between what your body was designed to eat and what you actually put into it, may be the most important thing you never learned about yourself. Think about the last meal you ate. Maybe it was bread. Maybe it was something sweet. Maybe it came in a package with a list of ingredients you could not pronounce. Your ancestors ate for 2.5 million years before any of that existed. And the body you are living in right now, your gut, your brain, your metabolism, your mood, was almost entirely shaped by what they ate. Not what you ate last Tuesday. What they ate across thousands of generations of survival, adaptation, and biological pressure so intense that it rewired the human body from the inside out. So what did they actually eat? The answer is stranger, more varied, and more unsettling than almost anything you have been told. And it starts not with meat or plants or some simple caveman diet. It starts with a single word that changes everything: opportunism. Your earliest ancestors were not picky. They could not afford to be. Australopithecus, the hominin that walked this earth over 3 million years ago, ate whatever the landscape offered. Researchers analyzing fossilized teeth from early hominins found evidence of a diet that shifted radically depending on the season, the region, and the year. This was discovered not by guessing, but by examining the carbon isotopes locked inside ancient tooth enamel. A technique pioneered by paleoanthropologist Matt Sponheimer and his colleagues in the late 1990s. What they found stunned the field. Early hominins were not specialized eaters at all. They were generalists, opportunists, survivors. And that word, opportunist, is the key to understanding your entire relationship with food. Your ancestors ate tubers dug from dry ground with sharpened sticks. They cracked open animal bones and sucked out the marrow when nothing else was available. They ate insects, larvae, bird eggs, wild berries, bark, roots, and the organs of animals before they touched the muscle meat. Not because they had a philosophy about nutrition, because those were the parts that kept you alive when everything else was gone. Here is what most people get completely wrong about ancient human diets. They think it was simple. They imagine a single caveman with a spear and a fire and a slab of mammoth. But that image was invented by people who never looked at the actual evidence. The real story is far messier, far more interesting, and far more relevant to the body you're living in right now. About 1.8 million years ago, something extraordinary happened. Homo erectus, the ancestor that first began to look genuinely human, discovered fire. And not just for warmth or protection, for cooking. This was the turning point that Harvard primatologist Richard Wrangham has spent decades arguing was the single most important event in human evolutionary history. In his research, Wrangham demonstrated that cooking food, softening it, breaking down its cellular structure, pre-digesting it with heat, dramatically increased the calories the human body could extract from every bite. Cooked food changed everything. It freed up energy. That energy went to the brain, and the brain grew. Think about what that means for you right now. Your brain, the organ you are using to read these words, is largely a product of cooked food. Your ancestors did not just eat to survive. They ate in a way that accidentally built you. But here is the counterintuitive twist that almost no one talks about. The ancient human diet was not one thing. It was not meat-heavy or plant-heavy or anything heavy. It was radically local, radically seasonal, and radically diverse. Researcher and anthropologist Herman Pontzer spent years studying the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer populations on Earth, and what he found upended almost every popular idea about ancestral eating. The Hadza eat honey in enormous quantities when it is available. They eat tubers year-round. They eat meat when a hunt succeeds, which is not every day. And their gut microbiome, the ecosystem of bacteria living in their digestive tract, is so different from the gut of a modern Westerner that comparing the two is like comparing a rainforest to a parking lot. Your gut was built for variety, real variety, Not the variety of 37 flavors of snack bar, the variety of dozens of different wild plants, roots, and animals across a changing landscape. And this is the moment where this stops being about ancient history and starts being about you. Because what Pontzer and his colleagues found is that the Hadza do not suffer from the diseases that define modern life. No type 2 diabetes, no metabolic syndrome, no obesity. Not because they are special, not because they have some genetic advantage, but because the food going into their bodies matches, closely enough, the food their bodies were designed to process over millions of years of evolution. Your body has not changed. Not meaningfully. Not in the 10,000 years since agriculture was invented. Not in the 200 years since industrial food processing began. The genome that runs your digestion, your hunger signals, your insulin response, your fat storage, that genome was written across millions of years of eating wild, varied, unprocessed food. And now it is being asked to run on something it was never designed for. Does that mean you need to eat like a caveman? No. But it does mean something important. Your cravings are not weaknesses. They are ancient signals. Your obsession with fat and sugar is not a personal failing. It is an evolutionary adaptation that kept your ancestors alive through famines your comfortable modern life will never force you to face. When you reach for something sweet, your brain is executing a survival program 2 million years old. When you cannot stop eating past the point of fullness, that is not a lack of willpower. That is a body designed for scarcity responding to abundance it was never built to handle. The ancient human diet also included something almost completely absent from modern food: time without food. Your ancestors did not eat 3 meals a day. They did not snack. They went hours, sometimes days, between significant meals. The body you live in today was built to run on intermittent fuel, to mobilize stored energy during lean periods, and to rebuild itself during rest. That biological rhythm did not disappear. It is still inside you. And every time you eat continuously from morning to night without pause, you are running ancient software on a schedule it was never designed for. There is one more thing they ate that may surprise you most of all: dirt. Deliberately. Researchers studying ancient populations and modern hunter-gatherers have found evidence of geophagy, the intentional consumption of clay and soil, across dozens of cultures and thousands of years. Why? Because wild clay is loaded with minerals. Because certain soils bind to plant toxins and make them safe to eat. Because before vitamin supplements existed, the earth itself was a medicine cabinet. Your ancestors did not just eat what grew from the ground. They sometimes ate the ground. Now go back to the meal you ate today. Go back to the first thing you put in your body this morning and ask yourself, how far is this from what I was built to eat? Not to make you feel guilty, not to sell you a diet, but because that distance, the gap between your ancient body and your modern plate, is the story of almost every chronic health struggle the modern world cannot explain away. Your ancestors ate for millions of years before anyone told them what to eat. They got it mostly right, not because they were wise, but because they had no other choice. You have every choice, and that might be the strangest inheritance they left you.